This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to all. Any doubts so far from our previous topics? Any questions? So we are in data dictionary. As we discussed last time, data dictionary is a central source of information about repository objects, and these objects are nothing but database tables, structures, views, log objects, different names we have. So basically what we see in the database, we have tables which stores information, we have structures which stores collection of data, fields, views, log objects, search helps, etc. As I said earlier, to understand very easily, database is a library in a college and data dictionary is the librarian in a college. How librarian knows all information which there in the library. He is using a laptop. In his laptop he has all the information. In the same way, in database also we have a small memory area. So this memory area we are calling as repository, and this repository, it holds a table name, structure name, view name, all these details. And the data dictionary, which is accessing this repository to understand what are the objects we have, and also if you wanted to maintain also, it will be maintaining through repository. And as I recommended last time, as a ABAP consultant or SAP consultant, always your task is to recommend your customer, which means Amazon purchased and they are using this software for their business purpose, and you will be working for Amazon under Tata or any other IT service providers as a SAP consultant. So your major task is to, whenever any customer coming with any question or any requirement, what they need for a business on the software, always as a consultant you have to suggest and then try to use the standard solutions. Your option to provide the custom solution, which is a very at the last. So you need to always check with your experience, do we have SAP provided any solution where customer is asking? If you are not able to identify, then only you have to go for the custom one. Okay, that is what your role. So, and it is also important to understand, SAP company, when they have released this software product, they have created so many dictionary objects. They have created tables, structures, views as part of applications what they have designed, which means sales order process, SD process. In any company, normal, what are the operations we have? We have inquiry, quotation. So these are all processes in a company. Sales order, delivery, billing, and every process which has a T code. Every T code which has a backend table. And during the T code creation also, when you open this T code, you will get a screen, and that screen has a program. And in the screen, you will be able to see the fields, right? So those are created using the structures. And in the inside this transaction, you have search shelves also there, where users search and get the data. And the backend SAP, they have designed lock objects. All these things they have used to build this standard transaction codes. And we always recommend to check first how standard is built. Based on that, if you got a requirement, then you can go and then implement as how standard they have implemented. And last day I remember we have seen a table concept, how a table is designed by standard SAP to store data of sales header information. And inside table what we have, let me log in into the system and continue the same topic on the tables. And this is the server uh, software which you have to connect, which is GUI. And in GUI you have a server, and then we used to connect with our server by entering our credentials. So first double click and then provide your credentials which you received from server team. And everything is important. So when you are logging into server, when you see the screen, see what in the screen you are able to identify. So you have a client name, you have user ID and password, and you have a new password generation, and you have a information which system you are able to log in, because this is important. So in interviews they will ask, when you are trying to log in, what you observe in a screen, and click on enter. So this is initial screen, SAP screen. And as I said, every screen which must have T code and program in the backend. So this is the program for this screen. Program is responsible on the actions what you do in the screen, and transaction which is responsible to display what you wanted to see in the screen. Here navigations, everything which we are able to see, because that is designed on the transaction screen. And if you select this, drag and drop, you will able to see few items. How these items are coming? These are coming from that standard program, in that standard program which is designed. And this is not only applicable for initial screen, any transaction, same thing, like display part responsible by the T code and screen, and actions what you do on the screen which is responsible by the program. Let me go to enquiry, VA11. So enquiry is a transaction in every business under sales process. What is normally enquiry, and what is enquiry type, and what mean by the sales organization, distribution channel, division? As a consultant, technical consultant, we are not required to learn these things, because this is a learning of SAP sales person who learns SAP SD module for 3 months or 6 months. They will be aware of what is this enquiry types, and which enquiry type is used for what. If I wanted to create a new enquiry type, how I can create, and how the sales organization distribution channels are maintained, what is the reason why it is. All this information, as a technical consultant, it is not required. But what a technical consultant required is, for example, here I just entered an inquiry type, and when I click on something, I'll get a message. Okay, so now someone is asking you why this message I am able to see, it's supposed to create it. Instead of creation, why it is giving me this message? If anybody asks, as a technical consultant, you can go in the backend program, so that program why this message is triggering, analyze, and then explain to them. That is what technical consultant role. Or for example, this screen level inquiry type is mandatory. but if you see, these are not mandatory, and division is few default values are coming, right? So if anybody asks how this is mandatory and how this is default value is coming, you should be able to explain them on what basis this become mandatory or how the default values are coming. This is what technical consultant role. If sales organization values, it has to come defaultly, user they don't want it to enter manually, then a technical consultant can do that. Because how this is mandatory or default values, because what you see here, that is responsible by the screen, and what you are getting here, that is responsible by the program. So program is nothing but which written on ABAP language. So you are a ABAP consultant, you can alter that program how they need, if they want. So now inquiry type, I'll give some inquiry type in, enter. So now every transaction, as I discussed, it has two parts, header part and item part. And header data is called master data, item data is called transaction data. In tables also, you have header table and item table. And sometimes status tables and system table and different other tables also there, but majority always all the transactions header and item data will be there. And header information, which is master data, which means created once and never changed later. Here if you see, there is a sold to party customer information, right? So customer is nothing but who is customer to Amazon company. Let's say Sanjay, I am a customer to Amazon company, I am placing orders repeatedly with Amazon. Now, Amazon company, first time when I contacted them, or like Prime account, okay, if I wanted to be a Prime member, I need to register, right? So when I registered my customer details, they will create in SAP system using a transaction code called XD01. So slash o is a command which is used to not to kill existing session and open another session parallelly. So here a customer details will be created. I'll just show you. So it is a mandatory information or what? Okay, I'll display customer XD03. So this is a customer which is already created using XD01. Customer in the sense like Sanjay uses Tezu, and who is he is running a company or he is an individual, and what is his data, contact information, and payment transactions like a credit facility. So I'll be using Amazon Prime, I'll be paying some amount, and yearly it has to be repay, right? So in that case, automatic payment, so my payment details. And sometimes I'll be a customer, I'm doing business with Amazon few years, and Amazon identified me, and then they are coming with a credit facility. So if I wanted to buy a product from Amazon, I'll be getting a credit facility of 1 lakh. Within 1 lakh, I can pay anything and I can purchase anything and pay later. So all this related, all the customer related settings will happen in XD01 transaction. And once this is created, the changes inside this data is very minimal. So if you registered, what you will ask later to change, maybe you will ask to change the location if you are switching from one location to another location, or you will ask them to change the address, or sometimes rarely phone number, sometimes rarely mail ID. So, but repeatedly, you are not going to ask Amazon sales team to change your data, right? So that's why this is master data, and header contains master data information. As like a customer, if sales in the sales header information, if you see sales area and sales area means sales organization, distribution channel, and division, and all this information also which is already created like a sold to party using a different transactions. So those transactions through they will create once and reutilized many times, like inquiry type also it is created like a sold to party using a transaction code. So this is all master data which is created only at once. And who will create this in real time? Either business team or with the help of SAP team. So mainly business team they will do this master data creation, and SAP sales team, SAP SD team which working under sales, right, they will support them if they need any help. Okay. And technically, as a ABAPer, what he will do if anything is going wrong during the creation, at that time he will come in picture and help them. So now I wanted to know this sold to party technical information, how this field is designed. Then click on F1 and then go to technical settings. Now you can see this is what ABAPer required, and this information only known by the ABAPer, and functional they may not understand this. And now you can see this is field name is Kunnar. Sold to party, what you see that is a field description, and technical name, actual technical name is Kunnar. And here you have structure. So they are using this structure, and later point of time with the help of this structure they are capturing this data and updating to table. So if you wanted to know what is the table finally it is going to update, then you need to copy the data element, and then through data element you can go to a various list. Various list is nothing but where this data element being used. In that way you can identify. So that such we will do it later, some part of data dictionary we discussed. And you have a program and you have a screen. So this screen level, this design is everything is happened, and this program is responsible if I enter customer 1 or if I enter customer 12. So usually customer validation is going on, right? That validation and details which are coming here, that is because of this program. Now close this and let me go to SC11. Remember, as a buffer, you have very few minimal transactions compared to functionals or basis security. So these transactions you must remember. SC11 is a transaction which is for data dictionary. And what you see here, these are all database repository objects, table, which stores data permanently. So once user created inquiry, after entering all the details, click on save, right? What will happen? The data what he entered in the header and item part, it will go and store in the tables in the backend. And we do have multiple tables. That table segregation will be doing by the program in between what we have. So in that database table, so this is we are talking about inquiry headers information will be stored in table VBAK. Click on display and you can see all the sales related header information we will be having in this table. So now every table, as I said, must have a key field. So here key field is sales order number, and non-key fields are the remaining ones. And always key fields are in top and non-key fields are in bottom. And if you see here, there is a field called MANDT. So as this is a sales table where it is having sales document number, that is valid. So it has some meaningful name. And what is this MANDT? It seems to be a client field. and what is the importance of maintaining client information inside a table, and that too this is a key field. Why why every table, if you go and open any table, sales table, customer table, or material table, you will see a first starting field should be MNDT. Why like this is, as I said, our server architecture, landscape of server is architecture is server and client based, which means you have a single server and which is connected to multiple clients, and multiple clients which has connected to different users. So let's assume this is development server. In development server you have multiple clients like 800 and 810. So 800 client is called development client and 810 is called testing client. As a ABAPer, you always connected to development server. Let's say as a ABAPer, you got a requirement to create a table from business they wanted to maintain few information in, and SAP they have given that a table to store, and SAP your Amazon customer requested you to create a table to store their business specific data. Then as a wrapper you will connect it to development server, and then in the development server development client is 800, you will log in into 800, and then you will create a table. So let's say this table is to store sales managers information. So you have created this table like G sales manager, and inside this table you have created fields, sales manager ID and sales manager name. Like this few fields you have created, and then you have maintained this as a key field. Manager ID should not be duplicate, and these are the two fields you have created. And after table creation is completed, now you need to test this table. As a ABAPer, you are the owner, you are the design, you are the implementation person. So you have to test it, right, how this table is working. Then how you will test? You will test this in development client. In development client you will enter some dummy data, saying that okay, this is customer sales manager ID is SA123 and sales manager name is Sanjay, and then you will save it, and then check inside the database how this data is visible. And once you find everything is perfect, then you will inform to your functional consultant who gave the requirement to create the table, saying that I have completed the task what you requested. Now this table is holding the data also. I have tested, and you will ask your functional guy to test. Then functional person where he will go and test. He will go and test in client 810, test client, because in test client we have real time sales managers information. These are the data what you enter is a dummy data which is not exist in the system. But while testing, already sales managers information is created in the system. That real time data, functional consultant he will enter into the table level and he will test it. So when he was testing, when he opened the same table, so automatically this is a client copy. Okay, so if you created a table, automatically this table is available under the same server in multiple clients. No need to transport anything within the server. Under a client, if you create anything, that will be available in another client also. That is a client copy which is taken care by SAP. You no need to transport anything. So now when he is wanted to test this table, when he go and open this table, he can see the table is there, fields are there, and also he can able to see the data what you created in the development client. So now the thing is, he was saying that I don't want this data. So this is a test data you have created, but in this system we have a real time data. I wanted to test with that. I don't need this information. Then how can we stop this information copying from one system to another system? Or if your functional says, okay, let it be, I'll do few more cases testing, which means he is using the keeping this unwanted data, and also he was testing with real time data, like a sales manager 2, 3, 4, and then Alex. So some real-time data also he is entering and then testing in the system. Then what happened inside this system? He will only need this data, and this is not required even though he is testing. So that table level data is going to be more. When it is going to be more, because of client copy, what he entered here, that is also available in development client. And in development client, do we really require this data also available? No. So actually, this has to be designed in such a way. ABAPer has to develop and test, and once it is completed, he has to give to the functional. And functional, when he was testing, it should not have the development data. It is like a plain table. Then a functional, he will go and test it. So that what will happen? Proper testing will be done, and also unnecessary data will not be there in the systems. So if we have a unnecessary unwanted data, what will happen? Few memory will be consumed unknowingly. You are consuming memory. So if you are consuming memory means it will affect that memory usage on the server. Always you have to use memory very effectively. Like you have a laptop with 100 GB, and in that you have placed a movie, and you have external hard disk also. That same movie is available in your laptop and hard disk, and you don't want that movie is in your laptop, even though you are keeping that movie inside your laptop. Then that is unnecessarily you are consuming your laptop memory, right? So wherever you need, you just keep it. Unwanted places, remove it. Then how this is possible? For better memory usage, SAP coming with solution saying that along with the fields whatever you created, right? So add one more field, that is MANDT, client field. So what is the use for this? Now when you enter client field, so you are not supposed to enter this data. Automate, you have an option where you can enter sales manager ID and name, but MANDT is a system client field which you logged in. This will be filled automatically. So when it fills automatically, what will happen in the development system? When you are testing, you will enter sales manager name and ID, and this will be come up based on your client which you are using. Now, when the same information which is trying to move, because this is a client copy, right? So when the same information it is trying to move to another client, then there is a client mismatch issue, because it is 800 here, but here it is 810. Because of this client data mismatch, the data will be suspended and it won't be moved to the testing client. So only your structure, which means table what you have created with the fields, that will be moved, and data will not be available in another client. So that's where, for better memory usage purpose, SAP they have used this MANDT field inside the table. Hope it is clear. And I wanted to see sales information. Then click here, a content symbol, and you have a screen. And without going inside the table, I wanted to see how many sales orders are there. Then you have number of entries. There are 15,379 sales orders are there inside the system. And I wanted to see few data. Here you have a maximum number of hits. So total number of entries 15,000. In that, now you will see only 500 entries. For very quick response purpose, they have designed in that way. So if you want all the data, remove this maximum number of hits so that you will get all the information. And this maximum number of hits also will come defaultly when you click here, which is coming defaultly, because there is a settings. Inside the settings, they have maintained this maximum number of hits as default value 500. So if you want, you can remove from here, so that what will happen, it won't come here. But standard SAP always maintain few records only for very quick response. Now you can see here, this is what the data of what a customer maintained from transaction level. Amazon sales employee maintained from the transaction level. So this is the sales order he created, let's assume. And you can see a sales document and sold to party. So sales document, which is nothing but created at the end. This sales document may be inquiry, maybe quotation, maybe sales order. Then how should I know uh, what is this document? Is it inquiry document or quotation document or sales order document? Is based on the sales document category. So if it is C, that is a sales order, and if it is A, that is inquiry. So you will be having the sales document category. Based on this, we can decide which item it is. And sold to party information created on document date, when it is created, who created, and what time it is created, and sales organization, distribution channel, purchase order. So whatever you enter in the header level and some default information, everything will be captured in this table. And you can see here the sold to party is 1, what we entered is 1. But when it is stored inside the table, it will be stored with the pre-digits. Sold to party, total number of characters is 10. But when you enter, so there are two different formats here, database format and a display format. What you see in the transaction, that is display format. What you see in the table, that is translate database format. So if you wanted to enter a customer one, you should not enter like this, right? User will not enter in this way. So this is display format. Always he will enter customer as one. But when it is stored inside the database, it will stored as a database format with prerequisites zeros, because this field data type is character and length is 10. Why it is important to know display format and database format is because in further classes when we are talking, sometimes we have to display user, not database format. If I am fetching this data and displaying to the customer, I should not display him database format. I have to always display user to the display format, remember. But when you are fetching data from the table, you should not pass display format. If I pass display format to this table to get the sold to party information, it won't give. You always have to convert display format to the database format when we want data from the database. In coming sessions you will understand that. And now coming to here, so as I said, any table if you open, it has attributes, which is nothing but who created, when created, all this information it will be, we can see here. And also when any table first time they have created, there is a version management that is there in the utilities version. Inside this version management, whenever first time a table is created, a version will be created here. So I don't know why this is not having version. Okay, leave it. I'll When we are creating a table, I will show you these versions. And we have a delivery and maintenance. So here if you see, we have delivery class and data display or table view maintenance. Two options are there, and these two options are mandatory for any table. when you are creating any table, you must provide this information. And what is this delivery class information? So if you see here, there are different delivery classes will be there, and the term itself says delivery. Delivery means when you create your table, and then when you are moving your table from one client, one system to another, one server to another server, how your data to be delivered, and what data you are delivering, which is going to explain by the delivery class. And mostly ABAPer, when he was creating a table, he will use application table, either application table or customizing table. Application table in the sense, you have a T code like va11 inquiry, and when we enter data inside that T code, and when we store, and backend table is going to update, so that tables are application tables. This VBAK, if you see, this is an application table. Why it is an application table? Because inside this table, data is going to maintain through a transaction. So transaction here, it is application. So this is a sales application. By using this application, a table is going to update it with the data, and that application which contains master and transaction information. Master means header data, and transaction means item data. So if you wanted to create a table where that table will be updated to a transaction and it contains both header and item data, then we have to choose this application. And customizing table, let's say there is no application, and your business is asking you to create a table where they wanted to maintain some data on their own with a T code, not from a transaction. Then you will create a table, and then on top of table you will create a T code and then hand over to them to maintain the data. So that is customizing table. So TMG, table maintenance generator, and maintenance views are there. I'll explain that time. So you'll see. So customizing table means only a business users they will maintain, especially for a table. Directly in a table they wanted to maintain, then we have this customizing table option. And table for storing temporary data delivered empty, and customizing table protect against SAP updates only installed allocations, and control table, system table, and system table with transportable via separate TR request. So these are all different tables where SAP is used, like system tables. If you see, every user who is logging into the system, their data has to be created inside a system. If I am logging inside this system my credentials, right, so my data will be available already inside the system, otherwise I'm not able to log in into the system. So users login information and system information, so this is SAP ERP system and client 800. So all this client data will be created already inside this table. So that kind of information will be used by SAP at that time they have created system tables. And customizing tables, there is a functional guy, he is doing some sales organization distribution channel creation using that customization activity. Then automatically backend few tables get updated, so that will be customizing activity. So like this, based on different requirements, this tables gets updated. And as a ABAPer, mostly used delivery class is application or customizing table. Delivery class is what? Delivery class is nothing but when you are creating a custom table, and what kind of information you are delivering from one system to another system, which is helped by the delivery class to the basis team. So basis team is the one where they are going to move from one system to another system this data. So delivery classification, it will help them to move your data from one system to another system. and mostly use delivery class either A or C. And display maintenance allowed or not. So display maintenance is not nothing but you are creating this table, and inside this table what is going to do. So you wanted to maintain data, then choose maintenance allowed. Or you are not interested to maintain data, only you are creating table just for information purpose, then display maintenance not allowed. If you wanted to create this table and the data will be maintained, but there will be some restrictions, everyone will not enter to maintain this data or see this data. It is a finance related table, only finance department employees can only access. Then restrictions we can implement on this table. So that is display maintenance allowed with restrictions. And sales table, it is having restrictions. So why we have restrictions? Because this is application table. If I wanted to create data directly inside this table, system will not accept. Normally you have option here, utilities, table contents, create entries. Using this you can create a entry inside this table, but because of this maintenance allowed with restrictions, this is disabled. We can't maintain data. Now go to technical settings. In technical settings, if you see, we have data class, size category. So data class is nothing but, let's assume this VBAK is a ECE related book, and inside the library you have to place this book. Then where you will go and place this book? In ECE rack, right? So if you are placing this book in a CSC rack, then what will happen? That belongs to a CSC rack, which means in a database you have different racks: ECE, CSE, newspapers, magazines, like this. You have a different racks. So these are the different racks in the database, and where your book you are going to place inside the rack. So that is matter. Why? Because in librarian, what he will do, he will keep education related books near to his cabin, and he will kept all newspapers, magazines very far away, because mostly students may ask education related books, and these novels or newspapers, old papers, that will be kept in a far away, because that will be asked by very few people only. For better accessing, we need this racks arrangement in the database. So like that data class which helps what where your data is going to place inside the database. So you are placing this data in APPLO rack or APPL1, which rack and what type of information. So if my table contains master data, then I'll choose APPL0. If my table stores transaction data, then I'll choose APPL1. So customer data is a master data, created once and not changed repeatedly. But sales data is a transaction data. One customer, he will place multiple sales in a company. As a Sanjay, I'll place different orders to Amazon, right? So different sales orders will be created for me. So that is transaction data. That's why SAP, when they are creating this VBAK, it is a sales table. That's where they have chosen this data class as APPL1. So it depends on what type of data you are inserting and where you are inserting, you need to choose the right classification. Data class helps what type of data we are inserting inside the database, and that is what data class activity, and mostly used is APPL0, APPL1, master or transaction data. And rarely we use organization data or any other information. Mostly this other information for BI persons, they will use, and different HR related they will use. As a developer you will be using APPL0, 1 or 2. So these are the three classifications. And what about size category? Size category is nothing but you are creating this table for what? To store the data. Then how much memory your table is required, how many entries you are going to store, which depends on the size category. if I give size category is 2, then 1000 KB to 4300 KB records will be stored inside the table. And this classification will extend automatically whenever data which is full inside the table. Let's say I have used 2 and my 4300 KB memory is full, and which stores suppose 5000 records, and after 5000 records automatically it will be adjusted to 3, and it is accepted to go with the further amount, further data, and memory will be allocated automatically. So this size category we have from 0 to 9 size category, which helps to how many entries your table can accommodate. And you have a buffering concept also. Buffering is nothing but, if your table is a customer Amazon company person is frequently accessing to see the data, then it is better to maintain buffer activated. Why? Because if he is keep on accessing data, then it will be number of hits to the database, then it may impact on the server performance. To reduce the number of hits to the database, if you activate this buffering activated, then what will happen when customer act, first time interacted with the database to see some sales information, that data will kept and will fetch and kept in a folder, in buffering folder, temporary folder. And next time any other employee wanted to see the same data, system will not go to the database, it will go to the buffer and pick that information. So if you want a frequent accessing, then only go for buffering activated. But there is a disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? This data may not accurate data, because if you fetch the data and kept in buffer, and you are picking next time from the buffer, and meantime actual data there is some changes happened, that changes may not reflect on the buffer. So based on the requirement, if you okay, even though changes is not that much important, then go and use this buffering concept. Mainly this buffering concept for the performance improvement part. And always, majority of the cases we will not go with the buffering activated or buffering allowed but switched off. Only we will go with the buffering not allowed. So this is a default option also. And in buffering also, for example, if I activated, how your buffering will work, it will read a single record, or it will read a total table record, or some set of records it has to read, how many key fields data it has to read, that information you can activate it. And log data changes. So if you want, you need to log automatically changes what happened inside the table, then you can activate this log data changes. So when you activated this, there is a tables called CDHDR, CDPOS. Those tables will be carrying the changes of the tables. By default, this is not activated, because if you are keeping this, many changes will happen to the standard tables. So obviously, performance of the system will degrade. And we have fields, and every field which has two things in common: data element, domain. So data element, domain, these are the two important things for field. So what you see here, field is a technical name, but when user is able to see this data, he will not allowed to check field information in technical name, he need a proper meaningful name. Now how this name will be provided is with the help of data element. Data element provides, what is data element? Data element provides semantic properties to the field. Semantic properties are nothing but a date documentation. This is F1 help and field label. So sales document. And these field labels are automatically convertible, language convertible, depends on the logon language. So I am a person, I am, my logon language is English. So when I logged into the system, I able to see sales document. If a Chinese user logged into the system, his login language is different and he can see in Chinese language. Automatically, it will be converted. That's where it is recommended to enter documentation and field label, and these are automatically convertible data. So data element represents semantic properties to the field. Semantic properties are documentation, field label, and domain also. And especially, what is domain? Domain brings technical properties to a field. Technical properties are nothing but data type and length. These are technical properties, and this table sales document information which is carrying. And if it is carry that information, we have to provide how many characters it's supposed to accept and what type of format we have to enter. So character means it accept characters, numbers. System point of view, both are characters only. So you can create a sales order number like this, A001. So system point of view, this is a character. And you can also provide sales document like this also. System point of view, this is not number, it's a character. That's where this is character and number of characters 10. You cannot enter sales document number more than 10 characters. Now click on data type. So these are all SAP created data types. All these data types we can see in each of the field level. This is date. So date, DATS they have used. This is time, created time. TAMS is used. Like this, you can see different data types and which data types for what reason they have used. Currency to store the sales document net value, and currency key. Currency key is nothing but Indian rupees or US dollars. Like that, it will decide when we enter number 100. 100 is what? INR or USD or pound. So that is currency key. And unit also, you have unit followed by um, currency keys, sorry, unit of measurement. So decimal places, DEC data type, number of contract for the customers. So you'll have different data types here. NumC they have used. This is for WBS element, breakdown structure. And so what I'll recommend you is today, just go to this table and see what are all the delivery maintenance or data maintenance options they have given, and what kind of fields. It is important to know basic fields. Every table, what a basic fields it will carry, and just see the data element and how this is data element created, what options we have. And inside the data element you have a domain, and this data domain, what information it is carrying. So tomorrow what we will do, we will have one requirement to create a table. And in that requirement, if you wanted to create a table, first we will see what are the fields we need, and based on that we will create a data elements and domain. And it is always required a data element and domain to create any table is no, but it is recommended SAP to do that because of the reusability. If you want to create uh, your data type and length inside the table field, you have a predefined type option. By using this, only you can assign data type and length to field without any data element and domain. But there are other issues like field labels will not be available. Okay, so they will not see the proper names, and users may not understand the technical names. And later point, if same kind of information you wanted to create in another table, that is not possible. Reusability is not there. So different issues are there. Always SAP recommended way is to create a data element and a domain for any field, and then create your table. So tomorrow we will see this data element and domain creation, and I'll be stopping with this today. Any doubts so far? Okay, if no questions,
No.
we end up for today. Yes.
No, no, I'm saying no.
Okay. Okay, then we'll connect tomorrow. Thank you all. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.